Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fed Flash Face-Off. Thank you so much for joining me and watching this week's episode. I am, of course, Gary Ryan. I'm the Fed League Flash, and we got a lot of things coming up in today's show. So much is, in fact, that I actually cut the mailbag segment out of today's show. We'll see about bringing that back for next week, but there's other things that we want to get to, including power rankings. It's been 2 weeks, so we're going to come back and take another look and see how teams kind of stack up against each other. We're going to talk about the neutral site game in New Jersey for the Flash Chat segment, and why this is a very important thing and why your participation is important. So please make sure you watch that. We're going to have game previews, lots and lots of games this next week. We've got 4 games that are 3 games, or 4 matchups, that are 3-game series. And crazy. We'll take a look at the standings, because the standings and the playoff races are becoming very interesting. There's only 5 weeks left in the season, so now it's crunch time. And we're going to start seeing teams get their playoff berths, some other teams eliminated. We'll take a look at that. And then news and notes. We got a lot to unpack in news and notes, especially all the trades that were made over the last 7 days. Of course, the trade deadline was this past Monday, so everything is in and done. A lot of teams look a lot different than they did just a couple weeks ago. So there you go. Always remember, you can click on right down here where it says more. It'll bring up all the segments, all the different sections of this video. If you just want to go right to news and notes, you can do that. If you want to go to Flash Chat, just click on that timestamp there. I appreciate you watching either the whole thing or just a part. Very much appreciated. All right. Again, lots to get to, so let's get to it. So here we are, ready for power rankings once again. And I did what I did last time. Again, this kind of pre-populated a few because there hasn't been any movement among these 5 teams. As a matter of fact, there's very little movement at all from 2 weeks ago to today. And we'll go into a little bit of why. Okay. Let's start off with the Biloxi Breakers. Yes, they finally snapped their long losing streak, but they just won the one game. They have won 4 games since mid-November, so it's been pretty rough. Well, let's go on. Indiana. Still number 13. The big hurdle there is just a lack of offense. But they do play a good system. They play competitively. The goaltending has been pretty good between John Werber and Chris Kerr. But they're 0-4 over the last 2 weeks. So they don't move. All right. The Zydeco, number 12, 6 games last week, and they won 3 of them. They went 3-2-1. But I don't really see them as having kind of hurdled over Watertown, so I kind of kept them where they were at. The winning percentage is .318, which is 12th in the league. Number 11 is Watertown Wolves. They went 1-3 over the last 2 weeks. Again, they're kind of running out of time to make a move. Just defense has not come together, really. They had a couple of good outings the last 2 weeks, but then the other 2 outings they had were quite forgettable. Number 10 is Danbury Hat Tricks. they're still on the outside looking in with the playoffs, 2-2 over the last 2 weeks. So they really haven't gotten any worse, but they haven't really helped themselves either. Number 9, we will continue with the Twin City Thunderbirds. That's where they were last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather. Now they went 3-2, but the losses that they are getting are kind of like key losses. So they've really been struggling to make up ground. Now they are just 5 points back from PD for the final playoff spot for the Continental. So there still is time. However, they were basically sellers during the trade period, the trade flurry that happened. And even though they've gotten some good pieces back, it takes time for that to gel. So I'm wondering if maybe these moves were made a little too late. But time will tell. All right, number 8 is same as last week. PD Ice Cats, who are currently right above Twin City in the standings. And they've struggled a little bit the last couple of weeks. Still, 1 win, 2 losses, and an overtime loss. So they're competitive, as just unfortunately one thing or another kind of getting in the way. And the offense has been playing better, but things have gotten a little bit loose in the defensive end at the same time. So maybe there was just a little bit too much of a pendulum swing with the team as far as their philosophy with going out and trying to win as many games as possible. Goaltending, it's really good now with Colgan and Rutherford. On the whole, you've got a good defensive core, and you've brought in some pieces as far as scoring that has definitely been very productive. But they've just got to string the wins together. All right, number 7. And this is one of the teams that did move down 1 and back in that 7th spot again. It's the Blue Ridge Bobcats. They went 1-3 over the last 2 weeks. They went through a 4-game losing streak over it all. And I continue to be somewhat baffled by the team. On paper, they're better than what we have seen this year. And I don't know if that's a coaching problem or something going on in the locker room, or maybe it's just they're still missing pieces to really fit together that nobody has been able to bring in yet. I don't know. But I really feel like this team should be better than it is. They're not a bad team. They're obviously in a playoff spot right now. But I just feel like I all year I've kind of felt like, as far as the Bobcats go, there's been something lacking. Okay, number 6, and these two teams kind of traded places again. Now, Topeka. A lot of people are going to say, okay, both teams went 1-3 this last week. Why did you flip them? Mainly because Topeka is playing more consistently on defense. And also, they've made some moves to help their situation. They've obtained a lot of offensive pieces to try and stimulate scoring and bring more scoring to the game. Trevor Lillard and Stephen Clank and players like that. So I anticipate a surge. I anticipate the surge more quickly from Topeka than I anticipate it from Blue Ridge at this point. Now, before I go on, I just want to say we kind of have 3 tiers in the league, and they're by rows, kind of ironically. You have the bottom teams here, the teams that are either they are out of it or they're soon to be out of it, out of the playoff picture. Just not really, a strong team in a lot of ways. In this middle column, you have your middle of the pack. They're streaky at times. They're good sometimes. Other times, you go, "What happened?" I don't know. I don't want to use the term pretenders. That's not the right term, but I don't really have the proper term right now as far as other than just I guess they're middle of the road, MOR. And then these teams are your teams that are serious contenders. So now we're moving into that category. Okay, number 5, where they were 2 weeks ago, it's Port Huron Prowlers. Yes, they're quite a bit behind Binghamton in the standings, but they're a very solid team. They should clinch a playoff berth this weekend. They're a good, solid defensive club. They have offensive potential. It just hasn't been realized. And I think that's kind of like with Topeka. That's just because of the style of play that they've been coached and directed in. It's always good to be strong in your own end, in your defensive end, keep the puck out of net. But there is a balance. You have to also incorporate scoring. I think Port Huron does it a little bit better than Topeka does. So yeah, I definitely put them in another category from Topeka. But they're having a good solid season. They can surprise people in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm gonna keep them there. Number 4, the Columbus River Dragons. They went this last week. Where was it? Looking at the wrong numbers. Okay, they went 4-1 over the last 2 weeks. The offense has been playing much better. Goaltending has been a little bit more consistent. You still see a weird game every now and then, but overall, I think they're doing really well. There's good balance, I feel, with the team, and their special teams numbers have continued to improve as the season goes on. That's a big help. When you're going into the playoffs, you want to make sure special teams are strong. And they still have good 5-on-5 play as well. All right, number 3, and these 3 are really close with each other, just so you know. But right now, I have Monroe at the 3rd spot. 3 wins over the last. I'm sorry. No, they had a win and an overtime loss. Again, I'm looking at the wrong column here. So yeah, 1-0-1. So they got points in both games that they played. But it does seem like once they hit that brief losing streak, they had lost 4 games in a row. While things have improved since that point, they're still not back to where they were earlier. They looked invincible for a while, and I don't get the sense that teams look at Monroe the same way now. I think they think, hey, this is a good club that we're playing against. We got to bring our A game. But the intimidation factor has kind of diminished. So, all right, number 2, Athens, and they just locked up a playoff berth on Sunday. So they are officially in. The second team to clinch the playoff berth. This next weekend, you could have all 5 of these teams clinching a berth or having clinched a berth. So there you go. So Athens, they're working Gus Ford into the lineup and practices, kind of getting everything balanced. And they gave up some very good players to get Gus Ford. And the question that I have is, was it worth it? Well, only time is going to tell. We aren't going to know for sure until we play the rest of the season and see if Gus was the piece to kind of put them over the edge and get them to the cup. Time will tell. You got to play the games. All right, number one is the Binghamton Black Bears. They went 3-0-1 in the last 2 weeks. A shootout loss. They're playing pretty solidly defensively. They had their struggles about a month ago defensively, and seems like that got fixed. They brought in a couple goaltenders, so they're looking to be very strong in their own end. Scoring is not a problem. They're averaging 5.4 goals scored per game. So that's not the concern. They want to make sure that they're taking care of the puck in their own end. They're being defensively responsible. And there you go. So there are our power rankings. We're only going to do this 2 more times this year. Of course, every 2 weeks we do this. And we'll see if there's a little bit more movement between now and 2 weeks from now. Because, again, the only 2 teams that moved at all were Topeka and Blue Ridge. They just flipped. So there we go with that. Okay, time to switch gears. Hi, everyone. I am Gary Ryan, the Fed League Flash, and I am inviting you to join me at Menin Arena in Morristown, New Jersey on Saturday, March 21st, as the Danbury Hat-Tricks take on the Watertown Wolves at 7 o'clock. This is not an exhibition game. This one counts. So come on out and watch the Wolves and the Hat-Tricks fight for a playoff spot in the Empire Division. Tickets are only $17, and you can order yours by going to https:/e/166276, or you can also call 973-326-7651. Come on out. Show the Menin Arena management that you want FPHL hockey in New Jersey. It's going to be an exciting night of hockey, so let's come on out and pack the house. Wolves, Hat-Tricks, Fed Hockey at Menin Arena in Morristown, New Jersey, just off the intersection of I-80 and I-287, March 21st. I hope to see you there.
What did he say?
So today I want to spend some time talking about the neutral site game in New Jersey. Now, that's going to be not this upcoming weekend, but the following weekend. Of course, the weekend after that, we do have 2 games that are going to be played in Minnesota at the Ralph Engelstad Arena, where the Minnesota Northern Lights will start play next year. Good opportunity to showcase the league, showcase to the fans what things look like, and that opportunity also exists in New Jersey. Now, the difference between the 2, well, actually 3 games, because there's 2 games in Minnesota. Difference between the 2 venues is right now, as we speak, New Jersey isn't set. That isn't necessarily going to pan out. We hope it does, where that'll become an expansion team for the FPHL. But there's some work to be done there. So your participation is very important. That's why I put together that promo and send it out to all the different fan pages. And of course, it's here on the Fed League Flash page as well. All right. So, the league needs to continue to have growth because oftentimes, just as in any other kind of business or enterprise that exists, some things build up and other parts die off. All right, nothing stays constant, even though we'd love to have that happen. It just doesn't. All right, so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about this game in New Jersey. A little bit about the arena, why this is important. Okay, so the game is going to be played at Menin Arena. It's going to be, of course, a regular season game between the Danbury Hat-Tricks and the Watertown Wolves. All right, it's great that you have a couple of teams from long established communities in the FPHL playing in this game. It's a good representation of the league, I believe. All right, so Menin Arena in Morristown, New Jersey. Now, if you don't know where Morristown, New Jersey is, it's not that far away from New York City. It's actually very close to Parsippany, New Jersey. That's right off of a couple of major interstates. I-80 goes east to west. I-287 goes, well, it ends up looping around the metro New Jersey area. And so at this point, it's going north-south. All right. It's been a long time since we've had pro hockey in northern New Jersey, of course, not counting the New Jersey Devils. We haven't had minor pro hockey in a long time. The last minor pro hockey team in northern New Jersey was the New Jersey Outlaws, who played during the FPHL's second season. And that was way back in 2011, 2012. And they won the championship that year. So there you go. Played in Wayne, New Jersey, which is about 40 minutes to the northeast of Morristown. But anyway, Morristown, this is a very nice arena. Seats 2,500 people. Theater style seats. It's not just bleachers or bench seats. So, it's nice and comfortable. I've posted a couple pictures so you can see the inside. Nice, clean looking brick building. Very good neighborhood, I think. It's a fantastic location. It's easy to travel to. First of all, it's not too far off of those two interstates. It's like 5 minutes just off those interstates. So that's great. It's just side seating, kind of like Danbury. Danbury, you have the seating on either side of the arena, and you can have some people standing along the glass, and the ends. This arena opened in 1975. It's primarily used for youth hockey. It's used for New Jersey Colonials, which is a youth travel team. It's used for high school and adult rec leagues. And also it houses the County College of Morris. Now, they don't have a whole lot of games. I think it's maybe 10 games a year. So it's a well-used facility. Now, it has 3 rinks, but the primary rink, that's the one that has the nice seating in it, and that's the one that is going to be used for the Wolves Hat-Tricks game. You look at things, and it's got 3 sheets of ice. It's used for a lot of different things, but it should be easy to schedule 28 dates for an FPHL team or a potential FPHL team there. Also in the arena, they have a nice little eatery there. Of course, they've got room for concession stands as well. And it's got a nice pro shop as well. Great locker room facilities. It's a nice place. I'm looking forward to getting there, taking some video, and sharing that with you. I'll probably just do that by Facebook Live. Because it's pretty quick and easy, just to kind of give you guys a look at the insides of this place. Now, the reason why this game is so important, it's become kind of tradition for the FPHL to look at potential markets and, hey, would a team work in such and such a place? Let's give it a try. Let's do an exhibition game, or in this case, it's a regular season game, but it's kind of a showcase type of thing where we can get the community excited about the product, see what the response is from the community. If it's a really good response, we'll look at putting a team there. And that's worked in places like Port Huron and Biloxi and Baton Rouge and Topeka and other places as well. So it's a great way to introduce the league to fans, to build interest. Not only are you building interest with fans, but you're also building potential corporate interest too, because any team that goes into a new market, they need those corporate dollars. They need those corporate sponsorships. And you go in there, talk to some businesses, talk to some corporations, say, hey, let's gauge what your support is for this. So it's a great opportunity. And the other thing that's very important about this game is the Northeast needs more teams. All right. Right now we have in the Northeast, we have Binghamton, Watertown, Danbury, and they play each other 1 million times per year. Yes, I understand the implications of travel costs and all that kind of stuff. Very important. So if you have a fourth team that is not too far away from the other three, that's great. That means if you are a Danbury fan, you don't have to see Binghamton 16 times a year. Maybe it's more like 12. Watertown, you don't have to see Danbury 17 times. More like 10 to 12, something like that. It's really good. So Menin Arena is 150 miles away from Binghamton. That's about a 2-hour, 45-minute bus ride. From Danbury, 89 miles, an hour 45, depending on traffic around New York. Watertown is 288 miles. That's a 5-hour bus drive, but that's still not bad. It sure beats Watertown having to go to, say, Twin City. All right, Blue Ridge, 8-hour bus ride. Speaking of Twin City, it'd be a 9-hour bus ride for them. Port Huron, 9.5 hours. Indiana, about 11 hours. PD, about 10 hours, 15 minutes. So it's really good. It kind of sits a little bit closer to those Southeastern teams without being way down the Southeast. So this would be a great bridge type of market from a travel aspect. I already talked about the gauging the viability of the market corporately and with fans. If this works out, if the game is played and there's a really good response, you have 2,000 or more fans there. I hope it's more. You could have 4 different pods. We've talked in the past about scheduling by geographical pods, cutting down the travel costs. Now, that's done quite obviously to the extreme. You have Baton Rouge and Biloxi playing each other 1 million times. You have Binghamton and Danbury playing each other 1 million times. You have Blue Ridge and Twin City playing each other 1 million times. So, give a little bit more variety, because after a while, you start getting tired of seeing the same team time and time and time again. So if we could get another team in that Northeastern pod and have 4 teams, what we could have is up here, Watertown, Binghamton, Danbury, New Jersey. And then you could have your Western teams in the Empire Division. You'd have Port Huron, Indiana, Topeka, and Minnesota. We still don't know what's going on with Motor City, so for right now, I'm holding off on mentioning them. It's a question mark. Down south, you could put Blue Ridge back into the Continental Division. You have Blue Ridge, Twin City, PD, and Athens together. And then you have your southwestern area. You probably need another team because you have Columbus, Monroe, possibly Baton Rouge. They're still working on negotiations with the Raising Cane's River Center. And I don't want to sound defeatist, but the chances of Biloxi returning are slim. I'll just be candid about that. Just because the fan support is just not enough right now. So anyway, you probably have to get another team there, but you do that, you have 16 teams. So, this is a good scenario. The league would love to be able to get to 16 for next year. They were hoping to have more than 14 this last year. A couple things fell through the cracks, didn't work out. So, they stuck with 14, and that works well. But if you could have 16, that'd be perfect, because then you could also have, if you wanted to, 4 divisions. It would make the playoffs very, very interesting. So, anyway, that's where we are with this game. Now, I mentioned support. Very, very important. We want to see a full house. Obviously, it's a neutral site game, so you've got fans from Watertown. They're going to keep coming down. You got fans from Danbury. They're going to be coming down. But, there's 2,500 seats to fill. Okay, I'm going to be there. I'm not from Danbury. I'm not from Watertown. But thankfully, the arena is only about 2 hours away from me. So I'm going to be there and throwing in my support because I want to see another team in the Northeast. Now, as far as getting tickets, all right, tickets are $17. And there's 2 different ways you can order it. Okay, got it right here. All right, you can go to https://tixer.com/e for events /1666276. The 166276 is the number of the event. All right. So there's a website that's there. You can click on that address or type that in, click on it. It's going to take you to that particular event. You can also call area code 973-326-7651 for tickets. Either way, that's how you can get a hold of them. If you want more information, if you're from the Watertown area, you can call the Watertown Wolves, talk to them, talk to some people in the office, see what information they can give you. Same with Danbury. You can call Danbury Hat Tricks offices and get some information. I believe Danbury has a special group rate that they are willing to incorporate. So call Danbury, call the Hat Tricks organization, get information on that. All right. So again, this is on March 21st, which is not this upcoming Saturday, but the Saturday after that, 7 o'clock. And it's going to be the Watertown Wolves, Danbury Hat Tricks playing in a game that's very important, especially for Danbury. Danbury is not that far off from a playoff spot. They're desperately trying to get into the playoffs. Watertown, they're on the outside looking in, but they're not completely out. So this is going to be a big matchup. It's going to be an intense game. This is a very good rivalry. So anyway, I hope that all of you guys come and enjoy the game. It's going to be a fantastic game. Again, I wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about specifically this event. Again, hopefully we get a great response. We tell the County of Morris, who operates Menon Arena, hey, we want a fed team here. It can work. We got, I'm sure that Don Kiernan and Herm Sorcher and others with the league will talk to the people who operate and own the arena and say, here's the numbers, here's how we can make it work, here's our plan. Will you allow a Fed team to come? Well, the very first thing they're going to look at is the optics. How many people came to this game? So very important that we fill that arena, that we pack it out. So please, if you're anywhere in the general area in the Northeast, please consider coming to that game. I'll say, being very close to a lot of Binghamton fans, Binghamton, your team is playing in Indiana that week. Can't drive to Indiana? Come to New Jersey. It's a lot closer, and you'll see some good hockey. So, yeah, hope to see you there. All right, so that is just kind of promoting this a little bit. Next week, I'll mention a little bit of details with the games that are being played in Minnesota. But again, that's a week away, so we'll wait on that for now. Okay, so previews. A lot of games this weekend. Now, as this was released, as you're seeing this, this is getting released after the first game of the week is played, which is PD and Athens. As I'm recording this, it hasn't happened yet. As you're watching it, probably already has. So I'm not going to really touch that game, other than just to say Athens plays 4 games this week. So it's going to be interesting. All right, I'm going to kind of zip through this because we've got so many games to talk about. Some of these games I have got marked as one-off. That means they just play the one day and then they trade opponents, basically. So now the matchup of the week, in my mind, is Port Huron and Binghamton. The teams don't like each other very much. There's a pretty fierce rivalry between the two, but also Port Huron is one of the few teams that has proven that they can occasionally beat Binghamton. So this is going to be a big matchup. Head to head, Binghamton's won 5 of the 6. The goal scoring differential is 29-17. Now, I mentioned the penalty kill number going up for Port Huron. That's good because they average 30 penalty minutes a game. That's tops in the league. Meanwhile, Binghamton averages 16 and a half. Now, does that give Port Huron a little bit more license to play physical, play tough, not be afraid to take the penalties because they feel that they can, kill Binghamton's power play? Possibly. But Binghamton's offensive numbers are also going up, 5.4 goals scored per game. That's a high point for the season. Very important game. Whoever wins in regulation takes a step up. For the Port Huron Prowlers, if they win in regulation, they clinch their playoff berth and they're automatically going to postseason. If Binghamton wins in regulation, they clinch the division. So there's a lot of motivation for both teams. Moving on, we got 3 games. We got 4 different 3-3 series this weekend. One of them being Columbus and PD. I think this is going to be a very good series, so I gave it 1 star. It's going to be a very, very good matchup, I feel. All right, so head-to-head, Columbus has won 5 of the 8, but there's only 4 goals more scored compared to PD. PD's been playing a lot better as of late. Columbus, their power play, now tied for first in the league with Binghamton, 26.5%. PD, their offense is going up. They're up to 3.7 goals scored per game. Just a month ago, they were 3.4. Now are 3.7. Magic number for Columbus is 8 in order to clinch a berth. So if they play well and if potentially they get a little help, they could clinch this weekend. PD, they want to win because they're only 5 points up on the Twin City Thunderbirds right now in that 4th spot in the Continental Division. So they need points. They want to hang on to that number 4 spot. And with both PD and Twin City playing 3 games this weekend, there could be a big swing or not. So it'll be very, very interesting. Okay, Danbury and Watertown playing again. The northeastern teams are all sick of seeing each other. I can tell you that. Danbury has won 7 of the 13 previous matchups, um, and has a goal scoring advantage, 57-48. This is another one-off game. It's Friday at 7:30. Now, as far as the goal differential, the hat tricks are closer to even, obviously, than Watertown. Watertown's defense ranks 13th out of 14 right now, and that's been a lot of their problem. And that the defense was supposed to be Watertown's strength this year. It just didn't happen. Right now, the hat tricks are 11 points out of a playoff spot, so they are desperate for wins. They got 10 games left. They're 11 points out. So every game is literally like a must-win game for Danbury. For Watertown, at 9 points is their elimination number. So they're running out of time, unfortunately. All right, we go to Indiana, where Topeka takes on the Sentinels, and this is another 3-3. If all the times and dates are in the middle in the black there. For Topeka, they've won 4 of the 6 previous meetings and hold a slight goal scoring advantage. Not a surprise, Indiana has had trouble scoring all year. Their goals per game is slowly slipping down. They're now down to 2.5 goals scored per game. Not enough. They need more. Topeka, their goal differential is 13, which, with the great defense that they have, it should be better. But this will be a very interesting series, because over the last 2.5 weeks, Topeka has really overhauled their roster. And maybe somebody's been listening. What I've been saying over the last few weeks is just, great defense, but they're not scoring. Well, they've gotten a lot of offensive talent brought in over the last few days. So maybe that'll change. Also picked up a goaltender. So they have games in hand on Blue Ridge, which is very important, because these two teams are tied right now in the standings for that 3rd spot in the Empire Division. Obviously, there's motivation there to win, and win now. So Sunday, this is the early game. We have 4 games on Sunday. 4. This is going to be the early game, 12:30 Eastern Time. Indiana, obviously, this whole year has been a struggle. They're running out of time. The elimination number is down to 3. I think Topeka probably wins one of these games. So it's unfortunate, but Indiana is also building towards the future. It's not just this year. So, all right, Biloxi and the Bobcats, the Breakers and the Bobcats, only met twice, and the Bobcats have doubled the score. Biloxi, not a surprise. Biloxi, they're 12th in offense and 14th in defense. Their goal scoring has also dried up. It's down to 3 even and sinking. So at this point, they're just looking to finish out the season, try and look respectable, play spoiler, play for pride. That's the big thing. The Bobcats, their penalty kill numbers have been slipping, and that's got to be a little bit of a concern. Now, they've made some roster changes too over the last few weeks. Most of their deals have been just, a player for financial considerations. So, they're sporting a little bit of a different look as well. 2 games Friday and Saturday. We'll see how that pans out, but the Bobcats, obviously, being that they only have 2 games and Topeka has 3, there's some urgency there to win this weekend. So I don't think they're going to be taking Biloxi for granted. All right. This is an interesting series. Not only is it a 3-3, it's a home and home series. Friday's game is in Winston-Salem. Saturday and Sunday's games are in Athens. Now, it's not a long distance. It's, I believe, 4.5 hours apart. So it's not a huge travel difference, but still, considering that Twin City has now played 3 games in 3 days for 4 straight weeks, they're getting tired. And, they've changed their roster up quite a bit too. For Athens, 4 games in 5 days. My thinking is, and the reason why I wrote the power play numbers is because power play is going to become very, very important in the series. Both of these teams, Saturday and Sunday, are going to be tired. When you play tired, you get sloppy. So I would not be surprised if you see a litany of 2-minute minors for holding and hooking and just the lazy penalties. I use the air quotes because it's not the players are being lazy; it's they're tired, they're worn out, and when you get tired and worn out, you get a little careless and a little loose. So it's not intentional. It happens. So power play is going to be very, very important for both teams. We will see how that turns out. But I think that is also a very interesting series. I would also add a star to this series as well. I couldn't because I had to write the home and home note. All right. Monroe and Zydeco. Again, yep. I hope the league does better with the schedule this next year. Anyway, all right. So Monroe has won 10 of the 12 previous meetings against the Zydeco, outscoring the Zydeco 55-25, which is not surprising, being Zydeco have had problems scoring all year. But their defense has been pretty solid most games. I'd say in these 12 games, Monroe just ran away with it twice. The other games are all respectably close. So, and the Zydeco have pulled off a couple of surprises. Monroe has struggled a bit as of late. I know that they're battling a lot of injuries, and there's some reports about internal problems. I'm not going to speculate on that because that's all just hearsay. But anyway, yeah, 3 games again. These are Eastern time. So locally, Baton Rouge will be 7:05, 7:05, 3:05. All right. Monroe continues to just kind of roll along offensively. They need 2 points. So any kind of a win, even if it's an overtime, any win earns them a playoff berth. For Baton Rouge, the writing's on the wall. Their elimination number is down to 16 points. That's either gained by PD or lost by Baton Rouge, and they're out. Anyway, going on to the next game. I had to use old magnets because, we had a couple teams playing in 2 different matchups. So, we broke out all the old logos. Binghamton takes on Danbury in Danbury on Saturday. Now, this is going to be a very interesting game. Binghamton, after an intense game on Friday, might be a little worn down coming in this game, but there's also the motivation. The last 2 times last time these 2 teams met, let me get that spelled out. Danbury won on Binghamton's turf. So Binghamton's going to be plenty motivated to return the favor if they can. Okay, so 11 matchups previously. Binghamton's won 10 of them, 61-24. But again, Danbury won the last time. And I thought they played a very impressive game, both offensively and defensively. So that's a one-off Saturday at 7 o'clock. All right, and then the final matchup of it's not of the weekend, but it's on the board. Port Huron, after taking on Binghamton, travels up north to take on Watertown. These two teams have only faced each other 4 times. Now, Watertown won in a romp in the first game. It was 6-1. And that was the beginning of a 7-game skid for Port Huron. They were starting to struggle. They figured things out, and on they went. Port Huron won the last 3. However, that goal differential is still in Watertown's favor, 11-10. Saturday at 7:30. Both teams averaging 3.3 goals scored per game. The difference here is Port Huron defense a whole lot better. However, they are missing a couple players. Let's see. Both Reggie Millette and who was the other one? Brian Parsons will be missing it from this game. Parsons is eligible to play in this game, so we'll see if he travels with a team, or if maybe Port Huron says, take a day off. We got this. We'll pick you back up at next week. We'll have to wait and see. So Port Huron, they've won the last 3 head-to-head. The Watertown Wolves, the question is, are they still in the hunt after Friday? We'll see. And then I just put the logos there for the game that, as you're watching this, has already taken place. All right, so that is a look at all of our matchups. It's a lot, isn't it? So that's why I wanted to kind of rapid fire through this. Doing something a little bit different with the standings board today. I wanted to include all the teams, and I still wanted to keep things kind of simple. So we just have 4 columns that we're going to talk about today. And as far as all this in the bottom, we're going to talk about the playoff format, because I've had a lot of people questioning me about, or sending me questions rather, about how the playoff format goes. So we're going to review that for you. Okay, so we got the Continental Division here and the Empire Division here. This is our playoff line, because, of course, the top 4 seeds all make it into the playoffs. The bottom 3 do not. So this is up to date. And as far as simplifying things, we've got games that are remaining. How many games each team has left to play. Obviously, that number is a little bit more important right now than how many games they have played. Total wins, number of points, because, of course, that's our primary way of determining who gets what seed. And then our magic number. Now, with Athens, you see I have a check mark. They have 14 games remaining. They have clinched their playoff spot. That's why they're in red. 95 points right now. And then Monroe is right behind them. Monroe hasn't clinched their playoff berth yet, because right now Twin City can get up to 94 points. All right, so you do the math, and it's like, 1 to tie and 2 to definitely get in. So that way you don't have to worry about tiebreakers and all that kind of stuff. So 2 points, magic number for Monroe. Now, if you're wondering what the magic number would be for Athens for clinching the division, again, these 2 teams are only 2 points apart. There's 42 points left, so 41 is the magic number for obviously there's too much time to go yet, as far as being able to really effectively get a good number on clinching the division. But if you want to be mathematically technical, it's 41. All right. Monroe, 93 points, 30 wins. They have 14 games left. Now, notice that Columbus only has 10 games remaining. So that hurts their chances a little bit at moving up, either, past one or both of these other teams. It still could happen, but it's not as likely. So most likely you're looking at Columbus being your third seed. But there's still 5 weeks to go, so we will see. Columbus's magic number to clinch a playoff berth is 8. Now for PD, they have 12 games remaining, 20 wins, 63 points, and the magic number is 30. They've got a ways to go because they're only 5 points up on Twin City right now for that final playoff spot. So there's some work left to do. Twin City, 12 games remaining, 20 wins for them as well, 58 points. A fourth place team's magic number is going to be the fifth place team's elimination number. So these numbers you don't want to see get down any lower than they are if they're in green. This isn't even a number because Biloxi is officially eliminated already. All right, Twin City, their elimination number would be 30. Any combination of wins by PD or losses by Twin City gets that number smaller and smaller until you end up with a big old X. You don't want that. So, Twin City and PD, this is going to be a very good race for the remainder of the year. Zydeco, 12 wins, 42 points. 16 is their elimination number, getting small. And Biloxi, of course, they're already eliminated, 7 wins, 20 points. All right, so let's look at the Empire Division. A couple of really interesting things here. Binghamton, I marked them with an asterisk there. That means their number to clinch the division is 5 points. 10 games remaining, 39 wins, 116 points. The Prowlers, 12 games remaining, 29 wins, 84 points. Their magic number to clinch a playoff spot is 5. So what's interesting is that Binghamton and Port Huron play on Friday. So if either team wins outright, that changes that's a -3 here and a +3 here, or vice versa. 3 + 3 = 6. So if either of these teams win in regulation on Friday, they clinch their next goal. Binghamton would be the division. Port Huron would be the playoffs. All right. Topeka and the Bobcats are tied in points, 69. That's why I had that underlined. Topeka has more overall wins. Hence, they are considered the third place team right now. They have the benefit of having 2 more games left to play than the Bobcats. All right. So that helps Topeka out, especially with the recent trades they've made. News and notes, that's going to cover a lot about some of the moves they made. All right, so their magic number is 20, each of them. The Topeka has a little bit more time to get those 20 wins or 20 points in. The Hat-Tricks, of course, their elimination number, 20. 19 wins, only 10 games remaining, 58 points. For the Watertown Wolves, 11 games remaining, only 14 wins, 44 points. Their elimination number is down to the single digits. It's down to 9. And then Indiana, 13 games remaining, 32 points. Their elimination number is down to 3. So one more loss by Indiana or a win by both Topeka and the Bobcats, that ends things for Indiana. And first year team, it's not a shocker, but hey, you can say this about Indiana, that they've been playing better than Biloxi. So there you go. They're building for next year. All right, so that's the standings. Now, I want to focus on the playoffs, how the playoffs are formatted, because we have a lot of new fans. A lot of fans aren't sure, and other fans know that last year we had a play-in game between the 4th and 5th seed teams, which we don't have this year. So everyone was saying, well, is the playoff format the same or is it different? So we'll break it down. All right. So we get to the first round, and I'll use hypotheticals. I'll pretend the season has ended, and these are our final standings. Here's your first, second, third, and fourth place teams. All right. So we have the top team hosts the, well, that's not the right word. The top team plays the fourth team. Now, because these are only 3-game series, that means that you're guaranteed one in each city. A lot of people have asked me, well, why don't they do like the top team gets the first game at home and then the second game is at the weaker? Because travel, especially because if you end up Binghamton versus Topeka, yeah, you're not going to go back and forth. So one plays 4. The first game is hosted by the lower seed. And same thing for the 2 seed versus 3. This would be Columbus, Monroe, and Columbus. Okay, Columbus would get the first game. The next 2 games, the second and the third, if necessary, would be Monroe. You only have to win 2. All right. So then we have the winners of these 2 series play a 3-game set. Same thing. The higher remaining seed gets the second and third games. Okay. And the same over here. It'd be, the home and then home, 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 and then home, home. All right. And then we get down to the point where we get our final 2 teams. We have our Empire team. We have our Continental team. We play a best of 5 series. All right. What will happen is it'll be the first 2 games are played at the lower of the 2 seeds. Let's just say the 1 seeds win out to this point, and it's Binghamton versus Athens. Binghamton has more points. They would be the higher seed. All right. So then Athens would have the first 2 games. Binghamton would have the next 3 if all 5 games are necessary. So, but that way, each arena is guaranteed at least 1 game in each series. So that's how that pans out. And then, of course, whoever wins 3 out of 5, there's your champs. All right, so that is the playoff format in a nutshell. Again, no play-in games this year, no wild cards. It's just 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3 in both divisions. And basically, you'll have, this is done in a weekend. Oops. This is done in a weekend. And then this, what they've done the last couple of years, the last 3 years, is the first 2 games are 1 weekend, and then you wait till the following weekend to do the next 3 games if necessary. Okay, in this scenario, if it was Binghamton and Athens, Athens would host the first 2 games, Friday and Saturday. And that's chosen because those are the biggest days for draws to games. A lot of people can't come to a Wednesday game. So the league tries to hold everything to Monday, or excuse me, to Friday and Saturday. And then if you need that 3rd game in these series, play on Sunday, or in this case, game 5 would be on Sunday. So that's how that works. And so by May 11th, May 12th, something like that, we're going to have a champion. So there you go. All right. So I hope that clarifies that and answers your questions. If you have any more questions, you can always contact me by DM or email me at fedflash15@gmail.com. All right. One more thing we have to do before we close out this episode of the Fed Flash Face-Off. Today's edition of News and Notes is sponsored by Our Time is Getting Cut Short. So I'm going to kind of rapid fire through this, but there are a couple things that I want to touch on before we talk about the after effects of a lot of the trades that have been made recently. I just want to go through those, kind of download those, so to speak. All right, but there are some other important news items that I want to get to, so we're going to touch on these real quickly. First of all, scheduling change. If you didn't see it on the socials, if you missed it, the Indiana Sentinels are making up a home game on March 19th. That's Thursday against the Port Huron Prowlers. Originally, this was a matchup that was going to be played on the 25th of January, and because of bad weather, the game was postponed. And so this will be made up Thursday, not Friday, but Thursday, March 19th at 6:30 p.m. at the Hamilton Community Ice Arena, Indiana and Port Huron. So make a note of that. I'm sure the game will be on YouTube, as well as, of course, if you want to go and get tickets, do so. All right. Motor City Rockers. A lot of people have been waiting for this, so let me spend a tiny bit of time here on this. We've all been wondering what's going on. We were expecting an announcement several months ago. It never came. And that was because just some things going on behind the scenes. I have it on authority from sources that there is going to be some sort of an announcement or statement made by the Motor City Rockers as far as their status for this upcoming year before this next weekend, not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend after that. We should have some kind of an announcement made. There's been a lot of questions as far as, did they get their arena deal settled? Are they coming back? What's going on? So we will find out within the next 7 to 8 days. So keep a watch, especially on the Motor City Rockers Facebook page and Instagram page and X page. Keep a watch for an impending announcement. Okay, neutral site games. Of course, I've already talked ad nauseum about the game in New Jersey between the Wolves and the Hat Tricks that will be played next Saturday, the 21st, and that will be 7 o'clock at Menon Arena, Morristown, New Jersey. Yeah, we've seen all that information. Not too far away is the following weekend. We have a pair of games, a showcase event. That the game's going to be played at the Little Ralph, the Ralph Engelstad Arena in Thief River Falls, Minnesota, where the Minnesota Northern Lights will be playing. And we will have a pair of games, between the Topeka Scarecrows and the Indiana Sentinels, the 27th, Friday, and the 28th, Saturday. The start time is 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central or local. So if you're able to go to that game, I definitely invite you to do that and encourage you to do that. Tickets, I believe, were $14. Pretty good deal there. So again, games at the Ralph Engelstad Arena in Thief River Falls, Minnesota. And couple of contests between Topeka and Indiana. Again, not exhibition games, real games that count towards the standings and the team records and all that. So definitely check that out. You can keep a watch on the Facebook pages for the Minnesota Northern Lights for information about that, or their Facebook and Instagram and all the socials. All right, I just want to briefly mention there's been so much attention drawn toward the trades and the impacts that they have on teams that a couple other things got overlooked. There are a couple of suspensions that came down from the Department of Player Safety from the game between the Port Huron Prowlers and Indiana Sentinels last Saturday. And so this upcoming weekend, Reggie Millette will not be available. He is serving a 3-game suspension. Why is it 3 games? It's because he is considered a repeat offender in regards to aggressor penalties. So that's why he got 3. Also, 1 game given to Brian Parsons. So he will not be eligible to play on Friday when Prowlers take on Binghamton Black Bears, but he can play on Saturday when the Prowlers take on the Watertown Wolves. He can be available then. And the other disciplinary action that came as a result of everything that happened, assistant coach Cameron Yarwood of the Indiana Sentinels was fined an undisclosed amount of money for his actions. Originally, it was listed, and I was concerned about this, it was listed as derogatory language, lewd behavior, et cetera, et cetera. After review and looking at everything, the Department of Player Safety said, no, we're not going to charge Yarwood with that. Instead, the penalty for which he got a game misconduct was changed to incitement. So Cam Yarwood not getting suspended, all right, but he was fined an undisclosed amount of money. All right, so we go on. All right, let's talk about the impact that a lot of these recent trades have. And I'm not just talking about what happened on this past Monday. I want to look at things that happened over the past couple of weeks. And I want to look at a couple of teams in particular. A lot of teams were active, some not so much. We had the big trade, the Athens Rock Lobsters and the Twin City Thunderbirds, and where Gus Ford came over to Atlanta. Oh my goodness, Athens. Why did this happen? Because Ford requested it. There were a couple of trades that came about because a player requested to get moved out. There was Ford. There was a couple weeks ago, there was Colgan from Watertown. He requested a trade. Watertown traded him to PD. There was also the Sebastian Resar trade from Danbury to Baton Rouge. All right. Teams wanted the opportunity to get a player that would play for them and be happy there. So they moved the player out in order to get something back. In a couple of cases, we had some trades for players' rights, players that have been inactive for quite some time. Caden Henry traded from Biloxi to Blue Ridge. Is he going to come back to the Fed? I kind of doubt it, but you never know. So Blue Ridge said, hey, we'll take that gamble. If he comes back to the Fed, we'll have his rights. Kyle Heitzner was moved from Biloxi to PD. Indications is that he will be reporting to PD in a matter of a few days. So look for Heitzner in an Ice Cats jersey. Let's say Denver Craig was also traded to the Bobcats, even though he is up in the SP. Let's see. Port Huron, the only team that stood pat, did not make any deals at all. We had several teams that made one deal for one player. Binghamton gets Dyson Skinner from the Thunderbirds. You had, you had Columbus getting Brandon Walker. And then you had other teams that just went nuts and really overhauled the roster. The three most active teams were PD, Topeka, and the Twin City Thunderbirds. Twin City coming in, Kaysen Gallant, Dominic Dumas, Grant Bondi, Cole Crowder, Jack Johansson. Has 5 new players that are hopefully going to be a part of them making a push to make the playoffs. 3 of those players, of course, came over in the deal that sent Gus Ford to Athens. But this is going to be a lot of change for the Thunderbirds if the team can gel and the influx of talent makes an impact. Maybe they'll press PD for that final playoff spot in the Continental Division. Topeka, they recognized, I think, that things were okay but not great, that they needed to improve, especially in the areas of goaltending and in their offense, because their defensive play has always been phenomenal. But they really didn't have much depth behind Sammy Bernard once Danil Brizgalov had to go back home to Russia. Unfortunately, he will not be returning. So they needed a goaltender. They get Matt Lenz from Watertown. So the goaltending is improved. And then the offense, they get Stephen Klink and Trevor Lord and Josh LaBelle and Nathan Carl all coming in to help boost the offense and score more goals and hopefully improve their chances at getting a good playoff seeding. So it's kind of funny. Klink, Lord, LaBelle, and Lenz, all former Watertown Wolves at one point. So it's kind of interesting. The Wolves kind of got spread around a little bit. You had a couple players that came in, might make an impact. You never know. Is it too late to help? Like, okay, in Biloxi's case, they get Hugo Kochback. They get Chiwetin Blacksmith. They get Egor Ramanow. Those three players on paper should be a huge boost to their talent and their level of play. So there you go. I think Biloxi could have done more with obtaining another defenseman in addition to Ramanow, but nonetheless, on paper, it looks good. You had teams like Monroe not doing too much. They got Ethan Matcham from Baton Rouge to add some size and grit, but otherwise, they kind of stayed put. Now, Monroe is battling a lot of injuries right now. Austin Albrecht is going to be out for an undetermined period of time. There's, I guess, Corson Green is battling some injuries. Some other players that are not 100%. So it'll be interesting to see if they did the right thing by standing pat, or maybe they could have made another deal or two. Be hard to tell. Okay. Anything else I really wanted to touch on? Oh yeah. Well, the Zydeco getting Sebastian Reesar, very good goaltending. Is it too little, too late? They're 16 points away from getting eliminated from the playoffs. They have three goalies now, and that's going to be interesting to see how they juggle things between Reesar, Coffey, and Stevens. But hey, they feel that this helps them out, so we'll see what happens. Seth Bacon joining Indiana, he made an immediate impact as far as just adding some defensive toughness to the Sentinels. So I think that was a good move. There were a lot of interesting moves, a lot of very interesting trades, and again, some of them were asked for. So there you go. And it's good, though, that the teams obliged and they didn't just say, well, no, we're not going to do anything with you. You're going to play for us and like it, or you don't play. They wanted to make sure that the player was able to play to their potential and to be happy. So they acquiesced, and that's great. So a lot of additions, and I think just about everyone helped themselves out. The only question I have, and I know this is going to be kind of a controversial statement, but is getting Gus Ford the right thing for Athens? Now, again, I know that Gus wanted to play again for Garrett Rutledge. He had played for Rutledge before with the Thunderbirds. Is it the right move for Athens? Does it help them to become a better club overall heading into the playoffs? Time will tell. Time will tell. All right. Well, anyway, that is our look at news and notes. And yeah, I had to get this done in 15 minutes, and I succeeded. I just wanted to thank you very much for watching once again, whether you watched just this segment or another segment, or if you watched the whole thing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Very much appreciate your support. Always remember that you can click right down here where it says more, and all the timestamps will come up. If you just want to go right to game previews, click that on. And that timestamp, and it goes right there. And just any part that you watch, I very much appreciate it. All right, so that's going to wrap things up for this edition of the Fed Flash Face-Off. Next week, I'm hoping to have an interview and a lot of other surprises too. We'll bring the mailbag back because a lot of you have been sending me quite a few questions over the last couple of days. I just didn't have time for today's episode. So yeah, we'll bring that back next week. And don't be afraid to ask a question, even if you think it sounds silly. There's a lot of new fans that are watching. There's a lot of people that are just learning the game. So please ask away. And you can contact me by either going through Messenger, Facebook Messenger, send me a message there, or you can email me at fedflash15@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. And maybe I'll read your question on the air and we'll talk about it. Okay, I guess that wraps things up. So I'm going to say thank you very much and goodbye. This is Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash, for the Fed Flash Face-Off. It's a lot of F's. All right, have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you next time right here on the Fed Flash Face-Off. Have a great day, everyone.